Welcome to my class. Today I am talking about the parotid gland. The learning objectives of the today's topic, it includes external features and capsule of the parotid gland, relations, structure within the parotid gland, parotid duct, blood supply and nerve supply of the parotid gland, clinical aspects. Anatomy of the parotid gland is concerned. It's the largest gland which is located in the face, and there is a three glands are there that will be surrounded the upper part of the neck region and face: parotid gland, submandibular gland, sublingual gland. Parotid gland, it gives the good shape to the face, hence it's a organ of queen of face. It's a irregular wedge shaped organ. It's located between the ramas of the mandible and sternocleidomastoid muscle. The gland is about 20 to 25 grams in weight, and it's look like a yellowish in brown color. The boundaries of the parotid gland: anteriorly masseter muscle, posteriorly sternocleidomastoid muscle, medially styloid process, and wrap around the neck of the mandible, and superiorly external acoustic meatus, inferiorly upper part of the carotid triangle. And you can see that this image, the parotid gland is located between the ramas of the mandible and sternocleidomastoid muscle. Divisions of the parotid gland: it's divided into three lobes: superficial lobe, deep lobe, and accessory lobe. Both superficial and deep lobe are interconnected with the isthmus, and these two lobes are separated by the facial nerve. You can see here in this image, this facial nerve, two trunks: temporal trunk, cervicofacial trunk, that divides superficial and deep lobe. The accessory lobe is present above the parotid duct. External features of the parotid gland: it's related to the two ends, three borders, and three surfaces. The two ends are apex, which is downwards, the base, which is upwards, and three borders are anterior border, posterior border, and medial border. These three borders are separates the three surfaces. External features of the three surfaces: superficial surface, anterior-medial surface, posterior-medial surface. Anterior-medial surface is grooved by the posterior border of the ramas of the mandible. The posterior-medial surface is molded to the mastoid process and styloid process. Both anterior-medial and posterior-medial is separated by the medial border. Capsule of the parotid gland. The investing layer of the deep cervical fascia is divides into superficial layer or true capsule that lies with the zygomatic arch, and the deep layer adherent to the tympanic plate of the external acoustic meatus. The thickened part of the deep layer is forming the submandibular ligament, extends from the styloid process to the angle of the mandible. Relations of the apex and base. The apex is downwards. It's related to the posterior belly of the digastric muscle and upper part of the carotid triangle. The base is directed upwards. It's a concave in nature. It's related to the auriculotemporal nerve, superficial temporal vessels. The base is closely associated with the external acoustic meatus and temporomandibular joint. The superficial surface relations. It is covered by the skin, superficial fascia, platysma, parotid fascia, and parotid lymph nodes. The superficial fascia containing the platysma, parotid fascia, great auricular nerve, and parotid lymph nodes. Anterior-medial surface relations. So this surface is deeply grooved by the posterior border of the ramus of the mandible. It's related to the masseter muscle, medial pterygoid muscle, ramus of the mandible, and lateral surface of the temporomandibular joint. Posterior medial surface relations. This surface is molded to the mastoid and styloid process, and it is associated with the coverings muscles. And here you can able to see the mastoid process associated with the sternocleidomastoid muscle and posterior belly of the digastric muscle. And the important two structures are enter into this surface. One is the facial nerve and other one is the external carotid artery. Relations of the anterior border and posterior border. The anterior border separates the superficial surface from the anterior medial surface. The posterior border is separates the superficial surface from the posterior medial surface. The anterior border of the parotid gland is related with the 5 branches of the facial nerve. These are temporal branch of the facial nerve, zygomatic branch of the temporal nerve, upper buccal and lower buccal, marginal mandibular nerve, cervical branch of the facial nerve. Apart from this, there is a parotid duct and transverse facial artery is present in the anterior border. And posterior border is concerned, it's related to the posterior auricular branch of the facial nerve and posterior auricular vessels. The relations of the medial border, it will divides the two surfaces, anterior medial surface, posterior medial surface, and it is related to the lateral wall of the pharynx. Structures within the parotid gland, superficially facial nerve, intermediate retromandibular vein, and deepest structure is external carotid artery, its branches. And the facial nerve is passes through the sternomastoid foramen, then it will be enter into the posterior medial surface of the parotid gland. It gives two trunks, temporal trunk, cervicofacial trunk, then it will be gives the five branches. The retromandibular vein is formed by the superficial temporal vein and maxillary vein. The external carotid artery is passes through the posterior medial surface. It gives posterior auricular artery, maxillary artery, superficial temporal artery, and transverse facial artery. Parotid duct and Stenson duct. Here we can able to see the masseter muscle, accessory lobe of the parotid gland, parotid duct, buccal pad of fat, buccinator muscle. See the structures. And upper molar tooth. Here the course of the parotid duct, it will be related with the anterior border of the gland, and it runs forward slightly medially, passes through the masseter muscle, and the superior part of the gland is consisting of the accessory lobe. The duct is consisting of the accessory lobe. It passes downward between the upper buccal and lower buccal, and turns medially, enter the oral cavity through the vestibule of the mouth opposite the second upper molar tooth. The parotid duct is piercing to the buccal pad of fat, buccinator muscle, and buccopharyngeal fascia. And regarding the relations are concerned, the parotid duct above accessory lobe of the parotid gland, upper buccal, facial transverse facial artery, then below that there is a lower buccal. Now ciliasis, let's say formation of the calculi inside the duct. The calculi or salivary gland stone that will be obstruct the serous saliva into the mouth. This stone will give the severe pain in the face and mouth or neck. The situation is becomes worse during the chewing and meals. Blood supply of the parotid gland. It is supplied by the external carotid artery, its branches, and venous drainage. The retromandibular vein is formed by the superficial temporal maxillary vein. Then it gives two tributaries, posterior division, anterior division. Anterior division joins with the facial vein to form the common facial vein, drains into the internal jugular vein. The posterior division joins with the posterior auricular vein and to form the external jugular vein. Nerve supply of the parotid gland: parasympathetic, sympathetic, and sensory nerves. The parasympathetic and sympathetic are derived from the autonomic nervous system, and sensory nerves are derived from the mandibular division of the trigeminal nerve, that is the auriculotemporal nerve, and skin and fascia of the gland is piercing by the great auricular nerve. And this schematic diagram will give the exact information of the nerve supply of the gland. The preganglionic fibers arise from the inferior salivatory nucleus coming from the glossopharyngeal nerve, the ninth cranial nerve, enter into the jugular foramina, then it gives one branch, tympanic nerve. This will be form the tympanic plexus. Through the tympanic plexus, it gives lesser petrosal nerve, enter into the foramina ovale, then synapse with the otic ganglia. The postganglionic fibers of the auriculotemporal nerve, secretomotor in nature, piercing to the gland. The mandibular division of the trigeminal nerve passes through the foramina ovale, then it gives auriculotemporal nerve, enter into the otic ganglia, then it will be piercing to the parotid gland. So, auriculotemporal nerve is consisting of the parasympathetic nerve fibers and sensory nerve fibers. Regarding the sympathetic nerve supply is concerned, the preganglionic fibers arise from the lateral horn of the T1 segments, then synapse with the superior cervical sympathetic ganglia. The postganglionic fibers enter into the carotid plexus. Through that, fibers are piercing to the parotid gland. And the great auricular nerve, which is derived from the C2, C3 segments, it will be piercing to the skin and superficial fascia of the parotid gland. This information will give the exact nerve supply of the parotid gland. lymphatic drainage of the parotid gland. Parotid nodes that finally drains into the upper deep cervical nodes. Clinical anatomy. Parotid abscess. The face is red in color over the affected side due to the poor dental hygiene. The infection of the dental will spread to the parotid duct. Here also we can able to see the swelling of the parotid gland due to the mumps disease caused by the viral infection. The gland is not much allow for swelling due to the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Fraze syndrome. It is caused by the injury to the auriculotemporal nerve, typically after the surgical trauma or surgery of the parotid gland. The auriculotemporal nerve, by mistakenly, it will be joins with the great auricular nerve. As a result, the signs and symptoms of the Fraze syndromes are, you can see that here, spontaneous sweating in response to a food stimulus or food eating. Face is appears redness or flushed, and it gives the feeling of uneasiness, discomfort, and this kind of syndrome, it gives several names like a gustatory syndrome, auriculotemporal nerve syndrome. These are the voice questions. These questions are very important for the examination point of view. And these questions is a, it gives the broad idea about the entire gland. These are the competency based curriculum questions prescribed by the Medical Council of India. And these are the often university questions in the form of short essay and short notes. Have a good day, all of you. Thank you. Thank you once again.